React comma use state use effect also from React. Next, write import Axios from Axios import link from React router DOM. Const const hook my hook 3 export default my hook 3. Now write here a constant called user list update user state come down below return division class name is not said anything. Let's keep directly division inside this S3 you can write use state use state use effect Axios JSON server save not save you can write here call add list it. Okay, ready. Now come down. Create a table here. That will be line will be right. T head, TR, TH, ID, else we have in JSON server. We can check once. Name, age, city. Name, age, ED1 city. Name, age, new, th for city. Th for edit. Th for delete. Okay, this table you give a line, right? Ready? Cell padding. Cell padding, not 15 you can give. Now here data will come from this server. Let's add a T body. Onto the T body, user list will be there. User list is the array. User list is the array dot map user comma index. Next return here tr with the key property index. Td user dot id next td user dot name next td user dot age. City is not there. Education then age. City is not there. What city is there? 1, 2, 3, 4 are there. 1, 2, 3, 4 are there. Okay. So user dot city first education edu next td user dot age cit domestic here first age then edu education after that city. User dot city next td a button for edit and delete. Edit. Next one more button for delete. Now this file we will call under the routing and we'll understand if there or not. It is going to load or not. So hope we return, come to the app.js, call this file. So this is using the functional component. You are going to communicate with the backend. So you will call here if it is ready. Hook 3, you have written, let me know. We'll go to the app.js file, we'll call myhook3. given the hook link in the beginning. I will add one more here. Hook 3. User list. And let's keep hook 3 only. Hook 3. Now add a link here again. Hook 3. Check now. My hook 3 is not defined. Why? My hook 3 I called here. What I have written on the top. Oh, I have not imported that. My hook 3 we need to import here first. From hook 3.js. Check now. Hook 3 should come here. Data is not coming. Okay, data is not coming because function we have to write. We have not written the function. So write a function here now. Get user. What is the URL is running? 1234/user list. Okay. You can write here axios.get http://localhost:/user list. dot then response dot data we need to send to, we need to check here condition. Yeah. So we have written if response dot data dot length greater than 0. We are checking from the JSON server. If data is coming, then only list of user we need to send to update user function. Response dot data. Write this line and then call under the use effect. Use effect. Under the use effect, we can call here the get user function, and you can pass here 1 comma 1 as a, so one time execution will happen of use effect. Check now, your data should list inside the page.
Sir, what is use effect doing means?
Use effect is a kind of component did mount. Component did mount, what
Okay.
it was doing, it was executing on load. On load was happening, component did mount. Similar way, use effect. Use effect will call automatically on page load.
And one means it will
Call only one.
it will call this get user method only once.
The use effect will call only once.
Oh, acha.
Use effect function, it load, it will call on page load. Okay. When it will call on page load, then it will start calling continuous. It will go under the infinite. Now what will happen? It will go under the infinite, then a request will go to the backend also infinite. Your server will become in the trouble. So in use effect, we have to pass the parameter as a, it should be true. So instead of true, people pass as a 1.
Sir, without using this use effect hook, if you directly call this method like normal JavaScript, then what problem will happen?
Which you want to call directly. Which function you want to call directly.
Get user.
On button click you have to call. You can create a button and call on button click. Other way, on load if you want to call, then you have to call this function. Which function? Use effect. Use effect will execute at the end of the page. Same like as a component did mount. Component did mount will execute after render method. Okay, so that function, if you call directly, which function? You try here. First, see this. Run this. It will give the list. Now delete everything and call the use effect. Directly call get user here. See what will happen. Are you getting the data or not?
Okay, sir.
The functionality of use if component did mount will be similar as component use effect. Hello. Hello. Okay, no problem. I will call you in half an hour. Okay. Now check now. You will get the data here. One user details is coming. Now I will cut this function from here. Copy this, paste outside. Comment this function from inside. Save the file. Check again. Reload your page. Still data is coming. Now let's go here. Understand the huge effect, how it works. Keep a alert under the huge effect. Call high. Keep a alert under the return. Anyhow, you cannot keep the alert. Under the return, you cannot keep the alert. So here logic says, first what should happen? First your HTML should appear or your data should come. First, what should happen? First HTML will appear or data will come?
HTML.
First HTML should render. Now HTML is going to render here. Let me comment this. We'll run our page. You will find first HTML will load. After that, alert will come. I have given the alert inside the function. Let me refresh it. See what is happening here first. HTML appear. After HTML alert has come.
Yes, sir.
Let me go again, replace here. Some other component I should go. See, first HTML appear, then alert them. The use effect function, what it is going to do, the sense of use effect is, use effect function says like first when the page will load, at that time, now if I uncomment this function, this function, then when this function will execute, before HTML or after HTML?
After HTML.
No. As of now, this line. Not inside the use effect, out of the use effect. See, compilation is going to happen from top.
Okay.
When the compilation will happen from top, first your function will get called. Now when you are calling the function, inside the function you are getting the data from API. Assume API is little slow. API is slow. API is taking a little longer than expected. Now if the API will take a little longer than expected, then at this point what will happen? Your compiler will get stuck. Your compiler will get stuck here. Your HTML will not load. HTML will wait for this line to execute. Now HTML will wait for some time to execute this line. Suppose this line will take 1 minute to execute. For 1 minute, your page will be blank. For 1 minute, your page will be blank. User cannot see anything for 1 minute because before calling the HTML, the function executed and function is sending the request to backend for data purpose. Now use effect, what it will say? Use effect will say like, I will not allow the function to execute first. First, I will give the freedom to this HTML part to execute and display the basic layout to the user. User will be busy inside the layout. Once user become busy inside the layout, after that, what we will do? We will call the function. User, some basic layout will be generated in front of user, and after basic layout get generated, then this function will call. So again, question is why this function will call after the basic layout get generated. We want users should not see the blank screen. Users should be busy in some processes. For that purpose, we said HTML, you generate the output first. Once you generate the output, after that use effect will come, and use effect will call this function, and then function will take some time, no problem. By then user is busy, user has got some UI, user can get some time later. If you go to the YouTube, go to the book some kind of light and all, when you click on search button or when you open the YouTube, you will feel like page is not completely blank. Page is like it's showing some kind of shadow. Okay, basic HTML is rendered. Now it's waiting for the result. Once the result will come from the API, then it will be rendered inside the page. That is the logic of huge effect. Okay, huge effect will say, I will not allow your function to execute in the beginning. I will allow your function to execute once HTML portion is ready. Once the HTML portion is rendered, user will be busy in that, and once the user is busy in that, meanwhile the huge effect will call the function and it will bring the data. If you want this on load, if this functionality you want on load, then only you should do that. Okay. If you want this functionality on click, then there is no need of the huge effect. Huge effect is especially if you want something on load. Okay, huge effect is something where you want something on load. If you have a button, if you want to do something on button click, huge effect is not going to come. Okay, that is the meaning of that huge effect function. Without that also we have written data. Now when the data was without that, what will be the impact on the front end side? Impact will be, if this backend is slow, it will take little long time to bring the data. And if it will take little long time to bring the data, by then user will see the blank screen. User will feel like nothing is happening. Clear?
Yes, sir. Sir, one more silly question is why we are writing this return part after the function part? Means what will happen if the function part is written after this return part?
Which function part? Anywhere you can write.
So it is not mandatory that after the return.
All are the part of the function only, no?
Yeah, no, I was asking that get user function means why we are writing above return only all the functions.
Let me cut from here. And I will come down where the function ends here at last. Save it. Okay, now look below. You can also modify something in your code. Similar way, you also do that. Cut from beginning and paste below. Below content is highlighted or non-highlighted?
That thing I don't know, sir. Means why it is headed type of comment.
No. In my code, you can say it's highlighted. Code is not highlighted, no? Look like code is inactive code, right?
Yes. Why that thing?
No, I'll guide you. There is some logic for that.
Sir, in means okay.
See here. What is it?
Oh, okay.
Cannot access the user list before initialization. Cannot
We have to
access the user.
We have to first initialize the function, then we can assess it.
In JavaScript, especially in JavaScript, let me write here one line. Okay. Other file, I will go here.
Sir, in scripting language, these things matters a lot, right? Line by line execution will happen.
I will guide what is that, why return is required last. Suppose there is one function ABC. This function says return 10. Below will write here alert I. Now what will happen in this case? When you will call this function, first this function will execute. When the function execution will happen, at that time your compiler will be returned back from here only. It will ignore your next line. Okay, your compiler will return from here only. It is not going to read the next line. Okay.
Yes. After return, nothing will be read.
After return, if you write n number of code, nothing will happen because you are asking the compiler to return from here only. Whatever you have returned from here. Now what will happen? Compiler is not getting chance to read the next line. Compiler had to return back from there only. Look into our code. Number one problem, we are using the user list. Look there. When your compiler will come from beginning, they will find nowhere the user list, but you are trying to print here. Now what will happen in that case? The first error, undefined user list. User list is not in this, you are trying to access that. Number one problem. Number two problem, you have asked the compiler, go under the my hook 3 and return which one? Division to division. Return division to division, nothing else. Now what will happen? Compiler is straightforward, it will ignore your remaining content. Whatever you have written below, it is not going to read at all. That is the meaning we are writing the return at last. Do the functionality, do the calculation, and finally return the output, whatever is there. I hope it is clear for you.
Yes, sir.
See, same code.
In case of someone writes two returns inside a function, then last return will be returned, right?
To return?
To write two returns inside a function, then the last return value will be returned to the user, right?
No, first one.
Oh, okay.
Because first only return will happen, it will not understand the next. Where is the next? It will not reach till second. It will return back from the first only. Okay. N number of return will be there. It will read only first return.
Sir, in all scripting language, the compiler reads means code line by line. Then it executes line by line or what?
Depend. If it is a procedural language, one by one, line by line, it is the functional language, not line by line. Okay. If it is a function based, then if you have an error in a particular function, if you call the function, then only error will come. If the codes are written line by line without any function, then what will happen? Wherever the error will come, from there on, problem will start.
Functional language, you mean Java, right? That will be called functional language.
Yeah, wherever we use the function, like in HTML, you never write function, right?
Right.
So in HTML, execution will happen from beginning. In CSS, we never write the function. So what will happen? Execution will happen from beginning.
Okay, means at a time whole code will be executed, you are saying.
Function, whichever the function you call, that function will execute. Suppose in one file we have 5-6 functions. Okay. one function will face the problem, remaining other function will also face the problem because all belong to where? Same file. Okay.
Oh, okay.
All belong to same file. Now what will happen is your code is not pre-compiled code. It will get compiled when you call the page. In React case, Angular case, what will happen? You are developing now. When error will come, now only error will give. Once you create the build, after that error will not come. Understood? So when you are doing, if the code is pre-compiled, then your code where is the error no matter at all. But if you are writing the code at the same time and running, then error will come, it will happen. Now matter is what is the code flow? What is the flow of the code? That is also matter which error will come first. Which error will come first? No one can say directly, yes, this error will come first. It's a matter of how the code flow. Okay, how the code is executing. If execution will happen in the last, definitely error will come in the last. If code execution will happen in the beginning, definitely error will come in the beginning. Okay, so based on the code flow, the error will come, whether first or last.
Yes, sir.
Come in this file. Data is coming here. Check now, your list is happening or not. One user we have in the JSON server that comes here. In my JSON server, I have only one user here. Okay. In the same page, these all are the same data. Okay, so we have to create one form like this. Well, the item is here in the right side, left side will have this one. So we need to come here, we need to add a new record, create one more table before this. Cell padding, you can add something, 10, 12. Boolean. Hmm. age, then next what we have, city. Then we require one more tr. Check now, form should come now. Book 3. Now this data we have to collect and post to the backend. So for that we require some certain variables. So let's go here, create a variable. Const full name, pick name, use state, age, pick age, city, pick city, mobile, pick mobile. Now come down, write a function called save. You will create a array and post on this particular URL. Variable URL equal to next variable new user. We can copy from the JSON server name, age, and these 4 details. Where name will come from the full name, age will come from the age, edu will come from the edu is not there, name is city mobile. Oh. Name, age, education, city. Okay, mobile is not there. Mobile we can remove from here. edu can apply. Pick edu. edu we can pass here, and we can pass here for city. So variable value, property value we added. Next, after that, axios.post on this particular URL. You have to post the new user. Then whichever the response is coming, we can call again this function to reload that. Response will not come anything. So JSON server, just reload that. So I will share you this code again. On button click, we need to call the function. Coming down, what we are writing, complete that.
Sir, in HTML, I think we need to change.
Yes, we have to call now. On chain.
No, this mobile number we have to delete and write that age. Sorry, age.
Education. on change equal to call a object for this particular text box, and then call the function call pick name. Under the pick name function, obj.target.value, same way we can do here. But the next field, pick new, pick age, pick city, button click, call the save function. Written. Come now, we will enter the value and we'll check. Here is 30 years. City Pune. Let's get headed here, Manoj. Okay. Is here 5 years. Then delete functionality, but this all data will come to your JSON file here. You can see all are storing and sketching. Check now, save is happening. Data is saving and listing or not? Save will happen, list will happen in the right side. Indirectly, it will be under the JSON server. Once. I will share your T body completely. let me know. Yes, no. Working, not working. Data is saving.
Yes, sir.
We'll see delete update tomorrow. I will save this file also, hook 3. In case not working, then use this file.
Sir, can you show me your output once?
Here, if I add any value here, click on save, it will come in right side. It will go to JSON server. That file system what we have made, all will be stored here.
Okay, sir.
File even I have shared, you can use that file if error. Okay, then we'll end the session.